is our decimal section, our decimal chapter. And so I found this nifty little place value chart on the internet, and I thought it was pretty and cute, and your students can use it and if ever needed. And so you've got let's say you made up some number. So this would be 2,910 and 437 regular thousands. Let me say that again. 2,910 and 437 thousandths. So you'll see that you have thousandths and hundredths and tenths. Now they also keep going. So your next one would be 10 thousandths and then 100 thousandths. And of course it keeps going here. You'd have 10,000, 100,000, million, and so forth. But that's how your decimal place looks. And when you get ready to teach this, of course, your textbook is going to have a nice, beautiful little place value chart like you see here. So what they're asking you to do is they're asking you to write it in expanded form. And so I want you to think about where they are. Like this 9 right here, that's in the hundredth position. So that would be 9 times 100. Okay, and this 2 right here, that's in the tens position. So that would be 2 times 10. And this 6 right here, well, that's in the ones position. So that would be 6 times 1. This 8, that's in the tenths position, so that would actually be 8 tenths. This 9 right here, that's in the hundredths position, so that would be 9 hundredths. And this 7 right here, that's in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths position, so that would be 7 over 1,000. And so if you were writing it out in the expanded form, yours hopefully would be a little bit neater than this, but this would be how it would look. Now, the other thing that it asks you to do is write it in exponential form. And so exponential form, let's talk about that for a second. If I asked you 10 to the second, okay? So what 10 to the second means, of course it means 10 times 10, and 10 times 10 is 100. But since decimals are based on the power of 10, it's a little bit easier to do. So if you have 10 to the second, you've got your 1 there, that basic 1. This tells you how many zeros you'll have. So 0 squared would be 2 zeros. If I asked you 10 to the 4th, that's a 1 with 4 zeros. Okay? And so that's something you could think about here. So if I asked you to write this in standard form, this 9 would be 9 times 10 to the second, and this 2 would be 2 times 10 to the first, and this 6 would be 6 times 10 to the 0, because there are no zeros right here, right? So you'd have 0 zeros. You'd have 0 in your exponent position, rather. Now then you get to the 8. And when it's in the bottom, its exponent is negative. So this would be a negative 1. So this 0 in the bottom would be a negative 1. 9 times 10 to the negative 2, and 7 times 10 to the negative 3. And that's how it would be written out. Mine's kind of messy, but that's how you would write it in expanded notation and exponential expanded notation. Now this one was harder than I thought. I thought it would be just as easy, like looking at it on a ruler, but it wasn't. It was very, very troublesome. So what I want to do with this one first is mark off the big marks. So you'll see that I'm going from 0.4 to 0.45. Okay, so if we count the big marks over, this would be 0.41, 0.42, 0.43, and 0.44, and then that leaves me to 0.45. Okay, so this A value here is just 0.42. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. Now then, in between the pink marks, you have, let's see, the 0.4 and the 0.45, those are measuring hundredths. So in between the pink marks, you're measuring thousandths. So if we look at this one, we wouldn't say, let me go to a different color. This one is not 0.41, Okay, 0.41 is the first pink piece, right? So this is 0.401. So this would be 0.40, 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, and 1. Okay? So when you get ready to go in between the pink region and put it in terms of green, you're going to move into thousandths. Hey, this B one right here is not that hard to do. Now, if it was in this part, it'd be pretty hard, but this one you're going to understand. So we start with 0.44, and it goes here to 0.45. So my green number, my B number, has to be in between here. So all you're going to do is say, hey, this is 0.44. 0.441, 0.442, 0.443, 0.444, 0.445. So this one would be 0.445. You start counting up in the hundredths column. Okay, so the same thing is going to happen with this 0.4, this C value. Okay, so this is 0.46. And this is 0.47, and this is in the hundredths place. So this is 461, 462, 463, 464, 465, 466, 467. That's where this one would be. Okay, now, looking at this last one over here, this is 0.51. So remember, you don't say that this one's 0.51, it's not. 0.51's right here. So this is 0.50. Remember thinking about this one, this is 0.50. So this would be 0.501, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08. This would be 0.508. Okay, so they are very difficult to do. So A is, it's on a big mark, so it's easier, 0.42. And B is 0.445, and C is 0.467, and D is 0.508. And that's how you would locate it on a very, very specific ruler. All right, so I told you earlier about the powers of 10 and how that told you how many zeros you have. Well, that also, multiplying by powers of 10 is very easy because all you have to do is move your decimal over. So if you see this first one, it is 33.623, and I'm multiplying by 10 to the fourth, which is actually 10,000. So if I'm multiplying this by 10,000, all I have to do is move 4 places to the right. I don't even have to use a calculator. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this answer would be 33,623,0. And I put a comma after the third number. So that's what it looks like to multiply by 10 to the fourth. You could also do it with this 11. Okay, so right now, a whole number 11 is understood to have a decimal right there. But I'm going to move my decimal 3 places to the right. If it's positive, you move to the right. 1, 2, 3. So this would be 11,000. Now think about this for a second. 10 to the third is 1 with 3 zeros. So if I multiplied 11 times 1,000, I'd get 11,000. Now, this is not how I meant for this problem to look. So let me change it up a little bit. All right, now that's how it's going to look for you. So now we're dividing. Okay, we're dividing by 10 to the 5th and dividing by 10 to the 8th. So if you're dividing, that that means you're going to move your decimal to the left. If you're multiplying, you're going to move it to the right. So here's our next one, 44.216. I'm going to move it 5 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's where your new decimal goes, and then all the waves you just put zeros. So this is going to be 0.00044.216. You can put a 0 out front for a placeholder to represent that it doesn't have any units. Ooh, I gave you big numbers, sorry about that. So our next one is 6322.42, and we're going to move 8 places. Let's see if we can get my numbers back, sorry. There we go. 6322.42. I'm going to move 8 places to the left. Okay, so start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put zeros in all the waves. So it's going to have a 0 out in front, and it's going to have 4 zeros. And it's going to have 6322.42. And that's how it would look like if you were dividing by 10 to the 8th, which is over 1 million. If you were dividing by over 1 million. All right, so that's how the decimals start out. We've talked about the names of the decimals and the places of the decimal and multiplying by 10. We've looked at it on a ruler. That's how we started. And now we're fixing to change them to fractions and show the relationship between fractions and decimals.